Today's video is about one of the best under $10 wine values that I've had all year long. In this video, I'll provide a bit of background information on the wine along with a tasting as well. Hi, I'm Bob Paulinski, Master of Wine. I've spent more than 40 years in the wine trade, and I post YouTube videos as often as I can. It's always fun wine shopping at Costco. The mix is routinely changed up and the values can be very good, but occasionally one stands out as being extra special. That's exactly what I found with the 2021 Kirkland Signature Chianti Classico Riserva for a crazy price of $8.99. To give you a better idea of the value on this wine, I did a bit of shopping at other stores. As expected, base level generic Chianti was oftentimes priced higher versus the Chianti Classico Riserva from Costco. This makes no sense, as base level Chianti comes from less favored vineyard sites, oftentimes with higher yields and a lower level of grape ripeness. Oftentimes, some white grapes are used in the blend. This is often attributed to increased quantity, but not quality. From the drab base level of Chianti, we move up to the much more interesting levels of Chianti Classico. This is the iconic representation from the region. The vineyard sources are from superior sites compared to base level Chianti. The yields are lower, the fruit must be riper, the wine receives longer aging prior to release, and no white grapes are permitted in the blend. At this level, the wines are typically found in the mid-teens and quickly bump up to the 20-plus range. Now we're getting into Chianti Classico Riserva, an increasingly serious wine. This level corresponds to the featured wine from Costco. The yields are lower than basic Chianti Classico. The fruit must have a higher degree of required ripeness, along with an increased aging requirement. In this case, it's 2 years in barrel and 3 months in bottle prior to the wine being released. The latest release from Kirkland Signature is the 2021 vintage, a very good year in Tuscany in terms of quality, but not overly plentiful in terms of volume. As a side note, I was not a fan of the 2020 vintage from Costco. A couple of factors came into play. The wine was sourced from a different supplier versus the 2021, and some wine estates in Italy were hard hit with production challenges in 2020 due to the impact of COVID. In terms of pricing, wines at this level are commonly starting at around $25, and they quickly climb from that point. The closure used for this wine is very common in today's wine world. This is called an agglomerate cork. You can see it's all these little tiny bits of ground up cork. There is very little risk of this imparting any type of problem to the wine, something like TCA, for instance. You see one side is the Kirkland Signature logo, and the other is Chianti Classico Riserva. As for the color on this wine, this is very typical of what you would find with Chianti Classico Riserva for a couple of reasons. The main grape variety in this is sangiovese, which inherently is a thinner skinned grape variety. It does not impart a lot of color into the wine. And also this wine spends extended time in barrel. And what that does is it lends a gentle, slow, oxidative character, which also reduces the color of the wine. So when you look down on this, the core is certainly not deep. There's some fade as you get out to the edge of the glass. This wine looks exactly as it should. Oh yeah, this smells really good. The predominant character here is very reminiscent of Morello cherry. It's those smaller, dark-skinned, bit tart cherries oftentimes are used for cooking. That character just jumps out of the glass. But in addition to that, there's more of a red raspberry characteristic, a little bit of a cedarwood, savory spice note. Bit reminiscent of Asian five spice, and oftentimes with Sangiovese-based wines, and certainly in this case it's present, there's a bit of an heirloom tomato characteristic. But the aroma is very pronounced, there's good purity, good intensity. I mean, it really smells inviting right out of the gate. All that appealing characteristic from the aroma carries through to the palate. That red fruit character is there, the savory spice note. Very good presence on the palate. You can tell the fruit is ripe. There's a skilled hand in making this wine from start to finish. All the pieces come together. I see on the back label, it shows the alcohol level at 13.5. Now, there is no alcoholic heat whatsoever in this wine. The structure of it can support it with no issue whatsoever. There's also a raised acidity level, and that's very typical for wines, sangiovese-based wines from Tuscany. They tend to have lifted acidity, makes the wines much brighter and fresher. On the back palate, there's very good length. The wine's not thin or washed out in any way. When you swallow it, the presence carries right through to the back palate. And with tannins, there is some tannin here, but I don't think this is a wine that would benefit from long-term aging. If you kept it a year or two, no worries. But the wine is drinking beautifully at the present time. This is an excellent example of a Chianti Classico Riserva. This wine is rock solid from start to finish, classically proportioned, has a strong sense of place. It ticks all the right boxes. Do I think it's one of the greatest Chianti Classico Reservas that I've had? No. But in terms of value for the money, you just can't beat it. And to find this wine for under $10, it's really rather shocking. Now, if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so right now. Also, hit the like button and definitely hit the notification bell. That way you'll be kept up to speed on all things happening here. If you have any questions about this wine or any others at Costco, please post it down below. I do my very best to follow up on each and every one. I'm going to be drinking something interesting tonight. I hope you are as well. And please stop back again before too long. Cheers.